Okay, so it's time. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. A very warm welcome to all of you. So our topic for today's webinar is activating the connected customer experience in marketing. We hope you find it interesting, and we are recording this session, so you can always access it later in case you wish to refer to it. So we have a lot of ground to cover today, so let's keep going. This is the scope of the webinar, and as you can see, you can expect to get a lot out of it, a clear perspective on the currently evolving marketing story, insights into the marketing strategies of companies, and of course, the connected customer's new journey. And at the end of this webinar, we are hoping you will be able to analyze your own marketing organization in line with business priorities and see how you can make your campaigns more scalable or fast, effective, and impactful. Something to note before we proceed, throughout this webinar, we will refer to facts and figures from the Annual State of Marketing Report 2018 by Salesforce, the first and second editions. These are the research, basically, is the outcome of nearly 6,700 plus interviews conducted with CMOs and marketers from various levels and from across the world. And also 7,000 plus consumers, business buyers, and customers. We are the presenters for today. So I'm Arpita. I lead Salesforce marketing and the marketing cloud practice at Marlabs. In the early 90s, when I started my career, I worked in a couple of ad agencies, Ogilvy being one of them. And then I moved to the client side, where I worked in large companies like Office Tiger LLC, which was a KPO, and Deloitte US firms. And I've been really fortunate, I think, during the 24 years of my career, because I experienced life on both sides of the fence in different roles and aligned to different geographies, like the US, UK, Europe, India. It was all very exciting. And for nearly the last half of a decade, I've worked in the Salesforce space with a new gen company that was born in the cloud. And here I am today, really excited to work on the business side of Marlabs for Marketing Cloud. So enough about me. Let's introduce our guest and friend, Daniel Peter from the Bay Area. He is my co-presenter. And an interesting fact about Daniel, which some of you may already know, he is one of the most certified Salesforce professionals in the world. Welcome to our webinar, Dan. I'm delighted to have you with us today.
Thank you, Arpita. So I've been doing IT for about 20 years, about half of that in the Salesforce ecosystem. I've worked in various roles for customers, Salesforce partners, been an independent consultant. That's what I'm doing now. And I've always had an interest in programming since I was young. But recently, maybe the last, say I started programming around 4th grade, but maybe since about 17 years old, I've had an interest in business. So you can see I've got both MIS and business degrees. But I'm also passionate about the Salesforce community. So I run the Bay Area Salesforce Developer Group, and I'm also a Salesforce MVP for helping out. That's an award you get for helping out in the Salesforce community.
Thank you, Dan, for introducing yourself. And speaking of introductions, a little bit about Marlabs Inc. So Marlabs, a digital innovation company. So what does Marlabs do? So Marlabs helps global companies digitally transform using their digital 360 framework. So we have a portfolio of solutions for our clients, like digital product engineering, digital automation, enterprise analytics, cloud, digital security, and digital user experience. And all are aimed at delivering the next generation digital customer experience. And that's where I come in as part of that digital customer experience team. For those of you who are interested in the newer technologies, well, Marlabs has an innovation lab called Marlabs Next. So they incubate cutting edge technologies in the lab like intent intelligence, AI, IoT, IoP, blockchain, and hyper personalization. So if you want to know more about Marlabs, you could always check out the website. So let's begin to talk about what we are gathered here for, marketing. The fourth industrial revolution, what is that? Well, we've all come a really long way from the first industrial revolution of the 18th century, when agricultural societies became more industrialized and urban. Transcontinental railroad, cotton gin, electricity, and other inventions permanently changed society. Something exactly like that is happening right now. Automated homes, self-driving cars, robotics, and very soon, as we hear, tourism to the moon. So we are in the fourth industrial revolution, and this is the age of intelligence. But there is a major difference between the computing and the intelligence revolutions. The difference is that companies are no longer competing on the basis of product, brand, or size like they used to 5 years ago. What is setting them apart and redefining their business success and relevance is obviously technology. So in a nutshell, what we are really saying is that there's no going back. A recent finding from the annual State of Marketing report reveals that 82% of business buyers want the same experience with the brand as when they are buying for themselves. But go back to 1995 for a second with me, and the wants then were very different, as you will see. So at that time, a client of mine, B2B and B2C, wanted to market silk fabrics to his direct and indirect customers. It was a very different time. There was a clear distinction between B2B and B2C companies, and also the campaigns that they did based on audience and media. For example, TV, newspaper ads, event sponsorships, billboards were all B2C. Dealer meets and incentives and fashion shows were all B2B. We succeeded in gaining 40% market share that year, way above our expectations. But that was 1995. And if I may say, that genre of marketing would fail now. Though B2B and B2C campaigns are targeting different audiences, even today, the hard line between their perceptions and experiences have blurred. Everyone has a smartphone. They socialize on the same social media channels, sharing experiences, which means the brand would now be experienced nearly in the same way by all audiences, though the content relevance for each of them would still be very different. So what does this mean? It means our marketing story has changed. So, welcome to the new story, which is the intelligent marketing story. We've seen these three words before, but these are not mere words that we have heard from before. Years ago, when I was working in Ogilvy, I remember the time when we had launched a direct marketing campaign for bakers to encourage them to try a new margarine. To know the bakers better, we had sent out hundreds of surveys through the field force months ago. And then post the survey, we selected some of them from across the country. And then we had to fly them down to the Lever's Food Research Center to conduct focus groups on the product. For the launch communication, as was usual, we used visual communications like magazines, which were sent via mail, which again took several days to reach them. And then we created, of course, the awareness campaign. We had to sponsor huge billboards and spend a lot of money doing local events across the country for several weeks. And after the launch, we had to ensure that we got bulk orders. And so what did we do? We set up call centers to provide some amount of personalization if that was possible, and to convince them to buy the product. We also offered free demo sessions, just threw it in at the last minute by the Levers team in their city of choice. So as you can see, even back then, the customer experience was at the center of every campaign we did. But it was nearly impossible to plan, execute, control, and manage seamlessly, or even change directions quickly. But now, in the age of intelligence, almost anything is possible simultaneously. We know that. Marketers like us have been presented with the ultimate challenge of having and using the growing intelligence that exists everywhere. Remember AI? Well, we have to know our customer beyond their date of birth, age, or address. We have to engage with them in their journey so that we may find new ways to make our brand vibrant while discovering new ideas for ourselves. And we have to personalize our campaigns that could lead to co-creating content, messages, even offers and experiences based on feedback. Let me show you how an intelligent marketing story plays out for one of the most well-known and famous wine brands called the Bespoke Collection. So this is the Bespoke Collection. Now let's make Dan one of the characters in our story. Dan, I hope you don't mind. Since you live in the Bay Area, I just thought so appropriate. So Dan works in a company, we are assuming, of course, in the Bay Area, and he buys a bottle of wine from a bespoke retail store or online. He's pleasantly surprised the next day when he receives an email in the morning thanking him and inviting him to join the bespoke community. Dan discovers they have an art gallery for wine lovers where he can appreciate and buy art, so he decides to visit the art gallery. There, a lady advises him to visit the Masonry Napa Valley, where there's another bespoke art collective. Dan is very excited, so he makes dinner reservations there, and immediately he receives a welcome back message. And when he reaches there, they already have all his preferences and details. I'm sure Dan will agree that such an experience would be awesome. What it shows is that technology, in this case Salesforce Marketing Cloud, created something intimate, invigorating, and nurturing with a high degree of intelligence and thought for the customer of Bespoke. So right there we have knowing, engaging, personalizing in a way that makes the experience unique for us. As a Bespoke customer, we would, of course, continue to get more personal, one-to-one, interest-driven content and predictive tailored experiences.
And by the way, Bespoke sales productivity went up by 30% when they started using Marketing Cloud.
That's fantastic, isn't it? So moving on quickly, let's see at the heart of the intelligent marketing story lies the connected customer story. So next slide. Yes, this is the age of the connected customer experience. Now, we've heard of the customer experience story before, and in the last 5 years, we've heard nothing in marketing if we have not heard that, because the definition of the connected customer has drastically changed. Our systems of record have changed into user-friendly applications. Actionable analytics derived from AI now tells us what to do. And we can also, of course, take targeted marketing to the next level. Apps, internets, communities, there are so many things, social media, all are transforming the way information is being received and processed by our customers, obviously impacting the experience. Personalization, a favorite topic of mine, is always moving to the next level. Customers are demanding real-time free advice from communities and also higher levels of responsiveness from companies, ironically, even before asking the question. So we all understand that the relationship with this connected customer needs a radical rethink. Great. But the trouble is, this rethink can take months, even years at a strategic and a conceptual level. And then there's the execution problem with multiple channels, devices, etc., etc. We need to think more immediately about how we can break down silo barriers between sales and marketing and service by their connectedness. That's a new idea. So let's look at how Burberry does it. Yeah,
That's a great idea.
yeah, Burberry, my favorite. So this is a great example because Burberry achieved this connectedness very quickly. They leapt into the orbit of the connected customer to build lifelong relationships. It was part of their strategy. Anyway, suppose you are the customer and you buy the famous Burberry trench coat. The sales experience does not end there for you. You get an email from them afterward introducing the people that made the coat. You are pretty impressed. And later, in the following weeks, just when you are starting to forget about the purchase, yet another email arrives with an engaging story about the origin of the material and how many stitches the coat has. Wow! Just imagine. What happens next, Dan will let us know.
So in subsequent interactions, it's possible that you'll receive offers and news about new products via SMS or email because Burberry has designed the one-to-one customer experience to give you a sense of the Burberry journey, but also a sense of personal ownership as you start on your own journey.
Isn't that great? So from the connected customer, we are obviously going to move now to our favorite topic, customer experience. The next slide tells us about the elements that impact a customer experience strategy. So the story gets bigger here because we are going to design a whole customer experience strategy for the connected customer, keeping all these factors in mind. And of course, we know through experience that customers are now very unforgiving. They expect companies to know them. They define benchmarks and they have so many choices. So according to Salesforce, there are 7 billion digital assistants worldwide in the hands of people and companies. And there are 5,000 plus point solutions in marketing technology to reach these people. So as marketers, what are we going to do? How do we choose a marketing solution? Obviously, we all have our work cut out for us. And technology aside, experienced people like you and me have to rewire our brains to accept the fact that one-to-one customer experience has gone beyond our control. And what do you think, Dan, about the point solutions? I mean, I never really think they could work now, but would they really work in the future, or these 5,000 plus point solutions would just go away?
Yeah, as movers and change agents, we really need to look beyond point solutions if we want to gain control.
Yeah, well, if we need more control, we have to, see what the role of marketing is in the tech age, which brings us to our role as marketers. So 34% of all marketing budgets are now directed to execute multi-channel strategies. 71% of customers say they buy products and services they didn't know existed 5 years ago. So what does this tell us? Gone are the days of spray and pray. So today it is about how fast our marketing organization can grasp the business problem. Of course, we have to devise a brand strategy and a marketing strategy and all of that. But they should be aimed at creating dynamic, evolving, and experiential marketing campaigns based on analytics, which will tell us how to create those unique customer journeys. Frankly, at a time like this, I'm personally very excited to be part of the Salesforce ecosystem because my own journey as an intelligent marketer has begun with the Marketing Cloud. Now, the reason why even I'm doing this webinar today with Dan is precisely that I want to share and show you the immense potential we have as marketers in this age of digital marketing, which we are now calling the age of intelligence. So, okay, so we will now proceed. We have a little poll for you, and a question will appear. Here is the question. Do you have a digital marketing platform? Essentially, do you use a digital marketing platform? So we will give you a little bit of time. Please choose an answer, and as soon as you're done, we can take a look at the results. Very interesting. We have the results. So 58% of our audience are using a digital marketing platform for over a year now. I would be so excited to hear more from them about their experience with it. And 6% say they don't have one yet, but they need it. 18 and 15%, interesting. So we have more than 30% of our audience already using the platform in the past 1 year. That's great. So now that the poll is over, Dan, over to you. Please do tell us about Salesforce and the Marketing Cloud.
Thank you. The Salesforce Marketing Cloud is the world's #1 marketing platform for delivering customized, personalized engagement at scale. So it's actually a suite of multiple tools, and your company may use one or all of these depending on what your company looks like. First one is Journey Builder. So this is what can be used to create personalized offers and build awareness of your brand. This takes each individual on a personalized journey with your brand as they interact with you on all channels. It gives you the ability to create smart, automated, tailored, relevant experiences at scale. And this is focused mostly on creating outbound messages to the consumer on various channels. And you can think of it as a next generation way to deliver various types of campaigns in a personalized way that put the consumer at the center of the experience. Next, we have Interaction Studio. So this allows marketers to deliver an accurate, comprehensive experience to your customers by knowing everything about how they've interacted with you. This is one of the newest tools. It was just announced in June, and it has some similarities to Journey Builder. It handles things like decisions, orchestrations, but it's different in that it focuses on the customer's inbound experience. So this is a way to tailor your customer's experience across all channels like sales, service, or even when they come into your store. What it does is it builds a real-time engagement profile that everyone in your company can use. And this also works with Journey Builder to deliver personalized messaging when it's appropriate. Since customer experience is the new battleground for customer loyalty, this is a great tool that can help you win that. Data Studio is a secure way to get high quality news sources of data for your smart marketing efforts. So this is a marketplace for second-party data. What's second-party data? Well, it's an emerging type of data. Maybe you've heard of it. It's in its infancy in some industries, but it's actually data you don't collect in your own systems, but you purchase from somebody who did. So this is considered to be higher quality than third-party data, which uses aggregators. So this takes the aggregators out of the equation. And your own first-party data you're collecting is limited, and this third-party data is becoming more commoditized and lower quality. So second-party data is an exciting new way to grow your business. What Data Studio does is it puts data governance in place. And so if you're selling this data, you can control who gets to see it, how they use it. And also the consumers have to opt into sharing this data, but more and more consumers are opting to share their data to get these personalized experiences. DMP is the data management platform. This is what allows marketers to consolidate various data sources to solve problems such as advertising to customers that have already purchased the product that you're advertising. This captures, unifies, and activates your data to create better customer experiences. The way it works is it uses an anonymous ID to relate all the different data sources back to that single customer. And then you can use this anonymous ID with various advertising platforms to target the customer. So this integrates with Data Studio as well if you want to work with second-party data. So Email Studio, while marketers probably already know the benefits of email, there's still an important way to engage customers. But Email Studio lets you create dynamic emails that show the right content to the right people. So we've also got some options there to use Einstein AI to help you find the best audiences and even recommend the best products in your emails. Mobile Studio is what you would use to reach customers on their mobile device when they're out and about. So this can use personalized SMS messages, push notifications, and even in-chat app notifications. Also, it leverages geofencing and beacons. So if your customer is in a certain geographic area, you can target them, or if they're close to a beacon in your store, you can send them a message. Advertising Studio makes it much easier to advertise on multiple platforms from one place. So this connects advertising data with your CRM data and other types of data. It brings it all together and makes it really easy to advertise on things like social media, like Facebook, or search engines like Google. And it captures the leads that are created back into your CRM. Social Studio allows you to listen at scale. It gives you kind of how people are perceiving your brand with its analytics. It lets you control the content that goes out to represent you. It lets you easily respond back. So let's say you want to use this in your Service Cloud. When social customer service issues pop up, you can bring those right back into Service Cloud, handle them there, so you can have a complete view of the customer experience. Also, you can use this to set up teams, pre-approve content, and manage all that from one place, so you know your brand on social is being consistent. So all of this is part of the Salesforce ecosystem. It's much bigger than just Marketing Cloud. So this includes things like Commerce Cloud with both B2B and B2C offerings, Service Cloud, where you can run a contact center to handle all your customer service needs, Communities, which can quickly power a multitude of different experiences for external users. Sales Cloud, this is the flagship Salesforce automation tool that Salesforce started with. There's collaboration with Quip. So Quip is kind of like Google Docs, but it's got some innovative features and it's integrated throughout Salesforce And as you may have heard just yesterday, they announced Slides. It's a PowerPoint-like slideshow with Quip. So they also have industries. So Salesforce has government cloud, nonprofits, financial services like insurance, wealth management, banking. They've got health cloud, many others. And all of these are part of the Salesforce platform, as you see down there at the bottom. So you get all these shared platform benefits like the Trailhead online learning platform where you can get ramped up on these tools, Einstein AI to give predictions and recommendations to many of the apps. You get Lightning where you can build great looking, easy custom apps that work seamlessly out of the box with Salesforce apps. You've got IoT Cloud for managing your large volumes of machine generated data. Heroku, which is an easy alternative to AWS if you want to build a really custom app from scratch. Analytics Cloud for your business intelligence. And then the App Exchange, which has thousands of business apps you can download and install right into your Salesforce org. And hundreds of these are targeted specifically for marketing. So by choosing Salesforce, you get all the various clouds such as sales, service, commerce, marketing cloud, custom apps. And all of these are storing interactions with your customers. So the data is easily accessible by the marketing cloud, and this data is really the key to targeting your customers with relevant, personalized marketing. If you've used other non-Salesforce solutions, you would need to do a lot of custom integration work to try to have all this data accessible for the marketing at the moment you need it. Perhaps you've experienced some of these challenges firsthand: large data volumes, API limits, transformation of data like deduplicating, normalizing, denormalizing, handling errors with your integrations, and ensuring the proper SLAs. And as your data models change over time, as they do, you have to make changes everywhere else that is impacted. So it's really not trivial to get these disparate systems talking to each other. And if it isn't done properly, ultimately the customer experience is going to suffer. Before we move on to the next poll, let's use some examples that show how Salesforce Marketing Cloud has changed the way companies are targeting, acquiring, and keeping customers.
That's a good idea, Dan, as it will actually help everybody, to understand what you just said and what you discussed about the Salesforce ecosystem. So our first use case is Wedding Wire. So coming up on the next slide is Wedding Wire. Yeah. So on the right side of the screen, you can see a statistic from the annual State of Marketing report. It says 60% of consumers and 64% of business means B2B here, state that they will switch brands if they don't recognize and anticipate their needs. Here, the they refers to companies. So basically what we're saying, if companies are not tuned into consumers, B2B or B2C, they will switch brands. So coming to Wedding Wire, interesting, it's a company in the technology and services space. And basically, they are a one-stop destination for an engaged couple's wedding needs. And they wanted to create a forward-looking business model that focused, squarely on customer preferences, education, and communication, all related, of course, to a wedding. And their research, so they did this research before they launched their marketing strategy. Their research showed that 30% of engaged couples, they plan their wedding on a tablet or a mobile device. And 1 in 4 couples actually use at least 2 apps for wedding planning, connecting, maybe with other couples or organizing and so on. Now, suppose you were to register on their website and enter the details related to your wedding, based on, of course, your wedding date. What Wedding Buyer would do, they would predict the ideal venues, decorators, caterers, even clothing and gifts for your guests based on the various factors, which you may have entered in the form when you're registering like personal preferences, time of the year, size of the wedding, and all of that. Now, all you have to do as a consumer is to choose and decide and let them put it all together for you. Isn't that just fantastic?
Yes.
How do they
So,
even do that, Dan? I'm just wondering.
yeah, the Salesforce platform, along with Marketing Cloud, has helped Wedding Wire to create unique one-on-one customer journeys so everybody feels special. And since using Marketing Cloud, their users are up 74%.
My God, that's phenomenal. Okay, so the next use case, moving on, is another very interesting one, actually. Zero motorcycles. 77% of consumers are not engaged with the companies they buy from. Now, here we are particularly referring to high value products. And it is strange that consumers actually don't feel connected to those companies once they've bought the product. So, Zero motorcycles, a little bit about them, very interesting. Forbes called them the Tesla of motorcycles because they are electric, and the electric motorcycles are taking off right now. And Zero is leading the pack because they are a very interesting combination of innovative products and state of the art service. So, Zero wanted to deliver that sense of experience to their customers across multiple channels, and also an experience that would reflect their brand values. So if you were to click on a promo ad or an email from Zero, they would be able to track your entire journey, right from when you visit their website to the moment of truth when you sign up for the demo, and all along from the time you take the demo and you buy your motorcycle. Zero will continue to serve you with utmost personalization. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And go on,
So
Dan.
their
That's
efforts
fine.
are aimed at making the customer feel special and proud of choosing the brand. And
Yeah,
all this has been possible for Zero because they chose the Salesforce platform to manage and track their sales leads, handle sales service requests, and the Marketing Cloud has also helped them to create one-on-one journeys.
absolutely. That's just fantastic. Now we can go on to the last use case and another very interesting statistic that shows how alert you and I as marketers have to be. 62% of millennial shoppers already know what they are going to buy prior to online search. And also another interesting fact, Arizona State University, which is ASU, and these two facts are somehow connected. ASU topped the list of most innovative schools in US News and World Report college rankings. So how was this possible? Well, we all know that prospective students, have a lot of people vying for attention to get their attention. And ASU had implemented Salesforce Service Cloud earlier because their initial focus was to improve and reinvigorate the way they served customers who were students. So ASU unified the student services through its service portal called My ASU. And after successfully, adjusting their entire customer service strategy, ASU decided to transform their marketing and recruitment strategy with Marketing Cloud. Now that was a milestone. You know why? Because ASU sends out approximately 91 million emails every year. So whether you're a student or a parent or alumni, you would receive targeted and authentic communication from ASU, completely aligned and responding to your unique needs based on your unique journey. And that's saying a lot.
Yes, and this was possible because ASU migrated 13 mass email systems to Salesforce, and then they began using Marketing Cloud instead to communicate. So having all the information about a constituent in one place, presented in a logical way, transformed the way they communicate.
Okay, that's
Okay,
great.
so we have another poll now.
Oh, nice.
So what improvements would you like to see in your digital marketing platform? So I'll give you a second here to answer these. Okay, the results. Looks like the number one improvement is a platform with AI built in. So very cool. Um, Next up, we have the ability to import vast amounts of data from other systems, and then an improved interactive UI, and then the one that you answered least often is need more advertising and template options. So looks like the trends here are AI and big data. Thank you for answering that.
That's perfect. Right. Now we come to our favorite part, one-to-one customer experience. Okay, equals one-to-one customer journey. Well, Dan, before you proceed, with your use case and the fantastic example you're about to give us, I'd like to say something that most people, when they hear customer journey, they think it is an email or basic content that we send, during a nurturing program or something. Now, while I'm guilty of having done that myself, I sent feel good thank you emails way back in 2005 from Office Tiger to make customers feel good. But what is worrying now is that some marketers still imagine that the customer experience is separate from the customer journey. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it's not separate. And today we can't just force customers into a journey. So the journey has to be native to the series of experiences that they're on. And then we can say the customer experience translates into the customer journey in this age of the connected customer. So let me share a use case which will show more about how journeys are being built on the Marketing Cloud. So we have a sample use case here. We have a 10-year-old retail chain called Summit. They sell clothing and gear for travelers, and this brand is positioned as a homegrown adventure brand. They target men and women between the ages of 18 and 45. So their best-selling products include backpacks, rain jackets, trekking equipment, hiking boots, accessories like bottles, compasses, sling bags, things like that. But recently, they ventured into extreme gear. This is a new line of products. So this caters to people traveling to extreme climates. And they have products such as sleeping bags, snow jackets, and boots. These are premium products that are only available for 6 months out of the year between September and February. And just to give you an idea of their size, Summit has a network of about 100 stores across the country and a database of over 150,000 customers. So what Summit wants to do at the start of autumn is promote a new product line called Extreme Gear to their existing database of customers. So they want to send emails and show ads only to those customers who have shown some interest in holidaying at these snowy locations or participating in winter sports or treks. So here's how Summit can use Journey Builder to promote their new product line in a journey that is tailored for each subscriber. So what we're going to do is collect data about our subscribers who have been vacationing at snowy locations, who are also part of some winter sports. And then we'll match that data about our subscribers on our master customer database and exclude the non-matching data with a SQL query activity. The matching data will result in one data extension, and then we'll use that to target our audience with a journey. We'll segment that based on their preferences and the data extension, so they receive personalized emails along the journey because personalized emails are much more effective. So what we'll do is we'll send the first email on the journey, then we'll wait for a few days before communicating further, depending on their interest level. If a subscriber opens the email, we'll check to see if the subscriber clicked or not. If a subscriber clicked, we'll use a decision split activity to check the purchase status field. So the purchase status field is populated from our CRM. If a subscriber purchase status is true and they purchased within 24 hours, we'll send a confirmation email or SMS thanking them and update the status in the data source extension. So the subscriber will be exited from the current journey if they purchase, but later they may fall into other journeys for other product lines. Along the way, if the subscriber doesn't open, or let's say they open but they don't click anything in the email, we're going to send some appropriate reminder emails as well. And again, after the reminder emails, we'll check and update the purchase status so they continue on their journey appropriately. If the reminder email is not open, we can also try sending an SMS message and waiting for another day. After waiting a day, we'll check to see if they purchased and then move them along the journey with that same confirmation email. If they haven't purchased anything, they'll become part of a smart ad campaign that cross-checks their purchase status, and if during the process they purchase, they'll be moved back to the process confirmation flow of the journey. And if they just don't respond to anything, they'll exit from the journey ultimately after about 9 days and just marked inactive for the season. At all of the various exit points, we'll also update our records with relevant information about the subscriber's behavior. And this information will be valuable to engaging the subscriber with future communications in a more intelligent way. So why Salesforce Marketing Cloud? Well, Salesforce is not a random collection of software to automate your marketing team's activities. It's an ecosystem that allows you to integrate, unify, and drive customer experience through custom-crafted, one-on-one customer journeys. It allows you to deliver the right message to the right person at the right time on any channel, guiding your customers along their journey with your brand every step of the way. This creates a one-on-one customer journey that's well-informed, personal, and fulfilling. And Marketing Cloud is the world's most powerful one-to-one digital marketing platform across email, mobile, social, websites, advertising, and connected devices. So Salesforce Marketing Cloud is #1 for a reason. IDC is named the #1 in market share in their space. Gartner has ranked them in the leaders quadrant. So as a digital marketing hub, they're excellent. But also when you couple them with the rest of the entire Salesforce ecosystem, it becomes a very obvious choice. And
Yeah.
speaking of Gartner,
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah,
Marlabs
I'm
has been
proud of
featured
this
in
actually.
yeah, so
I'm proud
the
of
first
this.
slide you saw, Marlabs has been featured in Gartner's prestigious market guide for Salesforce implementation services. So not only platinum consulting partner, but if you Google Gartner and Marlabs, you'll see them in that guide. So check that out. It's very impressive. So after this webinar, we're going to send you a very brief survey. We'd really appreciate it if you fill it out. It will be helpful for us, but also it'll help you to assess where you're at as a company. So keep an eye out for that survey. Thank you very much for taking the time to fill that out.
Thank you, Dan. I think we are nearly at the end of the webinar and we have to invite questions now from our audience. But before we go to the questions, let's very quickly look at the slide. So this is very important, I feel, because as marketers, we are always struggling for budgets and we are struggling to get buy-in We are worried whether the campaigns can be scaled up, whether we can change things around quickly. So the five key traits really today of our high performing marketing organization is really about these five things. Executive buy-in. Well, yes, we know that's an old one, isn't it? We can't be a prophet on our own land. We need support from the leadership. We need resources. We need, everything to keep going. And growing budgets, well, here is what research shows. Apparently, companies are now willing to spend, and they are spending more money for creating personalized omni-channel experiences for customers. And every 2 years, the budgets are actually doubling. So that's good news for us. And future focused analytics, very quickly. This has been really something we've all battled with for the last 10 years and 5 years. And, we continue to work on the area of ROI where we need to know, who has seen our ad and how many impressions we've got and how many visitors came to the website and which emails were opened and which were not. Well, the definition of ROI, now has to change. Because if we have to launch into connected customer journeys, we have to focus on measuring the volume and velocity of campaigns and noting which ones are succeeding and which ones we need to change. And we have to keep all our dynamic marketing strategies ready for that. And that should be the new ROI. The other interesting thing here, which you might want to make a note of, and we really haven't thought of it before in many companies and in many marketing organizations, but creating mini centers of excellence within the marketing organization, could be a good idea. So I'm referring to agile workflows here on the slide. It simply means that a single employee could have the ability in the future to focus on the entire string of connected experiences to make it really seamless for the customer. And last but not the least, collaboration. I know it's all our favorite point because we have to work with sales and service to succeed. And the one-to-one journey, of the customer has to work with all three in sync, right from the stage. The customer is a lead until the customer becomes a brand ambassador. Okay, I hope, when you're redesigning your marketing organization and, in your new role as an intelligent marketer after this webinar, you will probably find these points very useful, and maybe you could, look at that when you are, transforming your own organization. Okay, so I think I said this really fast, and I couldn't go any faster. I'm sorry, but I think Dan, we could take the questions now, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, we're a little bit over on time, but if you want to hang in there, you can take maybe one or two questions.
Yeah, I think we have some questions coming in. Oh, that's great. So, yeah, the first question is, how long would it take to implement Marketing Cloud with existing disparate systems? Dan, would you
Yeah,
like to answer
so
that for us?
sure. I mean, I can't give you like one number. It really depends on the specifics, but it can be done relatively quickly, like in the order of weeks if most of your data is in Salesforce or your data is generally readily available. But keep in mind, it's not just your customer data, but you may be integrating this into your websites, and maybe you want to build some new custom content. So depending on the complexity of the project and how many people are working on it, it could take anywhere from weeks to even up to a year. But if I had to try to pick sort of a ballpark average number, maybe I could say like 3 to 6 months would be a good range to plan for. Um, but also keep in mind this will never really be totally done. So it's going to be an evolving system. It won't just be a one-time implementation, but you'll keep improving it over time.
Okay, that's great. So, do we have another question? Yes. Yes, it seems we do have another question. So the second question from the audience is, how much does it cost to implement a digital marketing platform like Marketing Cloud? And do we need support after implementation? Interesting.
Yeah, so the cost is really varied. I mean, as I showed you, it's a whole suite of tools, so kind of depends on which edition you're purchasing, what combination of tools, but then also the size of your organization, like how much data you're going to be creating, how much users you have. So really the best thing to do is to get in contact with Salesforce for pricing info. They'll ask you all the right questions to get you a more accurate quote. But it is a SaaS product, so the pricing will be subscription based. And also you'll need some support after implementation. So there's kind of a couple types of support. So one is like the technical support around the product itself functioning. So Salesforce gives you, 24-hour technical support as part of the service. But also you may need some support on like getting the most out of the tool. So ideally you could have some folks trained full time on staff. But if not, maybe you need some additional expertise. You can engage consultants, and Salesforce can actually provide these for you, or you can seek them out on your own.
Okay, that's great. We have one more question then. How many customer journeys can we build at a time with Marketing Cloud? Well, I love the question.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if there's a hard limit, but there's obviously going to be some soft limits. So these things that impact performance. So it's probably going to be not necessarily a question of how many you have, but like how complex or inefficient are they. So really you're going to want to make these, if you start building a lot of them, make them more optimized. So you're not querying millions of records at every step. There's some tricks you can read about optimizing journeys, but Marketing Cloud does give you some nice things to manage when you have hundreds of journeys. You can do folders, tagging, and versioning of the journeys. So you can definitely get up into the hundreds and still be able to manage them. But do be careful of performance implications. All of these things are using, Marketing Cloud server resources when you run them. But also be careful of building too many journeys that drive too much traffic to your own, say, websites simultaneously. So you could actually potentially generate so much demand that you could cause impact on your own servers. So you might want
Yeah.
to spread that response out over, say, 24-hour period instead of driving everybody to your website all at the same instant. So be
Yeah, that
careful
that
about
would be
that.
tough. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so in the interest of time, we have to wrap up now, but we can see some more questions coming in. So we are requesting all of you to really write to us at ray@marlabs.com. You can see the email ID on the screen here. So Dan and I can respond to you. Thank you so much for the questions. And Dan, thank you for being a co-presenter. You were fantastic.
Oh, thank you. I had a great time.
Yes, and we look forward to hosting a great audience again. So have a great evening, everybody, and a great
Thank
day.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.